On the show today, for a currency that has lost its purchasing power, further deliberate devaluation will only stir resentment. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has denied a report that it devalued the Naira to 631 Naira to a dollar. In a tweet with a graphic image of fake news, the CBN debunked the report in some newspapers, suggesting that it devalued the Naira. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has reiterated plan by his government to unify the exchange rates in the country. Jide?
Yes, I think that Nigerians can see the rebound of our stock market. It is because the international community, foreign investors, see a reason to back this administration. Some of the things that they expected us to do in the past that we didn't do. We are seeing a president with the single-mindedness to do those things.
This removal of subsidies is part of
what we
demand. They've been demanding it all through.
You know, because they can see beyond what the rest of us see. Some of us are emotional about some sentiments, you know, but they know where we will land, and they don't want us to land there. A Nigeria that doesn't work is bad news for the world. It's bad news for our neighbors.
Bad news for us.
It's bad news for us. And we need to know that. So the truth is, you can't have a situation in which you have dual exchange window. And the dual exchange window, the margin is so wide, Ayo. The margin is so wide that everyone knows. Remember what SLS said, former CBN governor.
Sanusi Lamido Sanusi.
Yes, he said somebody will just cross his leg in his garden. They bring 1 million, he knows people in the CBN, they bring $1 million for him at the official rate. Let's even say the official rate now, 460. And then he takes it to the parallel market to go and sell. 760, it was 768 sometime last week. So look at the money that kind of person will make. And Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is saying, no, I want to discourage arbitrage, because arbitrage is a disincentive to production. Because if you know that you can make this kind of money, you would rather go and trade the currency rather than,
that's the most lucrative business,
rather than push the money into production. So it is one of the reasons we have all kinds of problems in the economy.
Today we don't have time.
So we got to do we got to do something about this, and I support the president when he says, look, we must unify the exchange rate. During the Jonathan era, we didn't have a unified exchange rate, but the margin was not as wide as it is today.
Yeah, okay. CBN, we don't have time. For more insights on this, let's join the director of the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, Muda Yusuf. Thank you for joining us, sir. CBN.
Yes, on this.
Thank you very much. My pleasure to be with you.
Yes, anyway, we can go straight to the question. But first and foremost, we have to establish that the news was published by Daily Trust newspaper. It's not every other. It was Daily Trust that had that exclusive report.
Yes, and they published a rejoinder that stood by that story.
And they published a rejoinder that they stood by the story. That I think we should put that very, very clear.
Yes, the second part of the question.
Yes.
You know, the question is in two parts.
Yes.
The second part of the question is what we are focusing on, which is the fact that Asiwaju said, look, we are committed to a single exchange window.
Yes. So the question to is that do you think that a single exchange rate with some of the problem we are currently facing, especially with our forests?
Definitely. It may not solve all the problems, certainly, but the multiple exchange rate is one of the biggest distortions that you have in the economy today. Two big subsidies have been a major burden on the economy: the fuel subsidy and the foreign exchange subsidy. These multiple exchange rates, we can also characterize it as a subsidy regime in the foreign exchange market. And one of the most difficult things to manage, especially in our environment, is this subsidy question. So the earlier we remove it, either in the fuel space or in the foreign exchange space, the better. Because it's going to bring a whole lot of impact, positive impact on the economy. Right now, we have major transparency problems in the foreign exchange market. It's creating a whole lot of problems about uncertainty in terms of planning, in terms of investment. A lot of investors, maybe close to 70% or 80%, currently rely on parallel markets, to get their foreign exchange. So when the CBN comes out and says that foreign exchange official rate is 465, blah, 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 the reality is that the operating exchange rate today for almost 80 or 90% of operators in the economy and the citizens is between 700 and 750.
Yes.
That is the reality. And the interesting thing is that this issue of multiple exchange has even created a whole lot of problems for investors.
Yes.
Apart from the transparency problem, because for you to access your official window
Difficult.
and get the foreign exchange at 460 or 465, first, it's either you have very strong connections that will connect you directly to CBN, or you are ready to, bribe people. That is the reality today. And for those who are very, who are sticklers to corporate governance and very serious high level of business ethics, they just cannot operate in this environment. I know of businesses that have decided to quit the country because of this kind of environment. Look at the embarrassment we are facing with the airlines. The whole of the world, Nigeria has the highest amount of, airline funds that are stuck in the country. Yes, in terms of foreign that are stuck in the country. So when we talk about COVID, we talk about Ukraine. Are we the only country affected by these things? Why are we in this kind of very embarrassing position? I know the reputational impact or the reputational effect. Damage that this kind of things cause. Somebody who I was at a conference about 2 weeks ago, an investor went abroad, he wanted to raise money. And the first question they asked him was, how are you going to pay? That your airlines money have been stuck in your country. How are you going to pay us? Investors' money are stuck in your country. Foreign investors cannot take their money out.
Yes.
So that was the only question they asked him. And based on that, he said Nigeria was a no-go area for them as far as funding is concerned. So it's a major issue affecting investment. And on top of that, there's a revenue effect. Now, the CBN offers averagely maybe between $18 to $20 billion to the market annually. Imagine losing about 200 or 250 Naira per dollar. Because the foreign currency you are selling at 460, you could as well sell it at 660. People will buy it because they are buying at over 700 anyway. So imagine you sell such foreign exchange in the market at 660. That's a loss of almost 4 trillion Naira, if not more, that normally should have gone into the Federation account. So all of these things are being creamed off by those who have connection through arbitrage. So that is why we have built an economy where commission agents and brokers are making more money than entrepreneurs. We have turned the incentives upside down. And that cannot afford to continue. And President Tinubu was very clear in his inaugural statement about some key issues. And one of the things he said clearly was that the CBN must, he didn't use that, must work towards a unified exchange rate. He didn't miss words. So I was shocked when I was reading the statement again. after the president has spoken. I read a statement from the CBN saying that the exchange rate is still at 462 or 460 something. Even if they have not prepared the framework, they should not be speaking in a way that will be contradicting what the president has said. Because they are confusing investors. They are sending conflicting signals. I mean, you see what has been happening to our Euro bond and all of that, just based on what the president has said.
Yes.
Positive responses.
Positive.
Only for the CBN to come and say, no, we have not devalued, exchange rate is still at 465. So we should discourage this kind of things. Once the president has spoken clearly as to the direction of policy, all agencies of government have to toe that line. If you have any disagreement, you engage with the president or with the policymakers.
How much capital, Doctor, how much capital by way of foreign exchange in our kitty can we make from the removal of fuel subsidy?
Well, from fuel subsidy, well, I think we should be making close to between 10 to 15 billion dollars. If
Annually.
we're able to annually, yes. If we're able to stop all this importation of petroleum products. And the way to stop it is to create an environment for the private sector to go in there and invest. You know, invest in refineries, which is a major incentive, because if you do not remove the subsidy, the private sector cannot invest.
Yes.
And we cannot run an economy where you block a very important sector of the economy from investment from the private sector. And let me also make this very clear, especially to the NLC. Many of their members, particularly in the public service, many state governments have not been able to pay the minimum wage, even as little as it is. Many state governments are owing salaries. Sometimes 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. Many of them have not paid gratuity to workers, those who have spent all their lives serving the government. Pensioners are not being paid. And those that have been paid peanuts. I mean, I listened to BKO in a program 2 days ago or so, when he was saying that an AIG was earning 70,000 naira. These are all the things that labor should face. How you can move this money and use it to enhance the welfare of workers. That is their responsibility. If the government don't have the money, how will they take care of the workers? So I think labor should think deeply about this. Because their stance sometimes, rather than be, either grandstanding or trying to look very popular, they should face the reality. Many of their members are suffering. One of the most impoverished segments of the working class today are those in the public service. I mean, they should be asking for more wages.
Well, I guess they
should improve their pension.
I guess they are waiting for government to come up with palliatives or promise or palliatives, so that they can take that back to
their... They should put PKO, they should put this thing forward as their main priorities. Because they keep saying that don't remove subsidy, go and set up refineries. That should not be their priority. Their priority is their members are suffering. Their wages cannot buy anything. Their pensioners are suffering. Their duties are not being paid. All of these things need to be reviewed. I mean, I was listening to an emeritus professor when he was telling me the kind of peanuts he was earning as pension. I felt very sorry for him.
Yes, the pension is nothing.
He left service maybe close to 15 years ago. He was a very senior professor.
Oh,
but
we
because
go
all
on and
things
on.
have been fixed.
I want to thank you, Dr. Muda Yusuf. Thank you for your contribution.
I've run out of time.
Very interesting. Director for Center for Promotion private enterprise.
Okay.
It's a recurring matter, so
Yes,
I'm
yes,
sure we'll
yes.
still go back
On
to it.
Yes, quickly, AY. As we round up, it's a question of trust, and you always use the word trust. Classical example is that I remember when the last increase of petroleum was made, the government promised to use the money for certain things, roads and other palliatives. The question you ask yourself, was that money used? So, judiciously. And that is always be the problem. This current government will make sure that Nigerians should be able to trust them on their promises and be able to deliver them. And that in itself bridge the gap.
On the final analysis,
yes.
2 windows for this dollar rates is criminal.
It is.
In our country.
It is.
Do you know that if you are traveling now,
61.
BK, do you know if you are traveling now, you know that you can't get BTA.
You can't get BTA. No, BTA
you
is
won't.
a thing of the past.
Because the banks will tell you after you have applied.
Apply, go online, apply to CBN.
They will never
No, they will
get
rather
You connected people.
take it to the parallel market.
They won't.
That is what you get when the margin between the two
margin
places
is
is too wide.
Oh, too wide.
Look at, you give someone $1 million at 460.
Yep.
And he goes to sell it at 760 or
Immediately.
758. You've made a millionaire
Out of the person.
So people can easily become millionaires without having to work. You know what someone also told me? He said, when business people are forced to go to black market to buy dollar at 768, they will be forced to import substandard products. Yes. Whereas in the same industry, you could find someone who got his own from for
we have the animal farm,
and they're supposed to compete together.
Guys,
that's the thing.
I want to thank you, Chris Kende Wandu. Thank you for your contribution today.
God bless Nigeria.
Yeah.
As you always say.
The Metro. Thank you for
Thank God.
your contribution today. And that's our offering today on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for our regular program by 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode 11:30 p.m. this night, and we're on YouTube, youtube.com/TBC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.